You're tuned into news across the galaxy where they talk all things LA Galaxy with the Nag Boys. Let's start nagging.
And a good evening to you wherever you may be, and welcome to News Across the Galaxy's The Midweek Show. Coming at you live from the battered and beaten NAG Studio submarine, which some way, somehow, escaped the deepest trench of the 2025 MLS table. I'm your host, Edgar Zuniga, with our very own Salvi Demon Slayer on the ones and twos, the Pupusa Hashira himself, Bryant Lovels. On tonight's show, we're going to preview this Saturday's match between LA Galaxy and Minnesota United FC. And to help us do all that, coming at us live from the lone red bleacher seat attached high up on a wall at the Mall of America, co-host of the Loonacy podcast, Connor it is. What's up, buddy? Hey, I've seen that.
It's scary up here, man. I don't know how I'm going to get down from the seat.
If nobody knows what I'm talking about, look it up. It's like a bleacher seat from the old Metropolitan Stadium where the Minnesota Twins used to play, and they demolished the stadium,
right.
And they built the Mall of America right on top of it. But because I forgot what player it was, he hit a massive home run, right? I think it was the biggest home run ever hit there.
It was
Hellman Killebrew.
those baseball fans, Harmon Killebrew
Yes.
at home run. I think it still is the record for the longest home run ever hit in Minnesota. So yeah, it's awesome.
It's funny, they have like this massive. It's a mall, right? So it's this massive wall, and there's just a lone bleacher seat way up on the wall. And that's where Connor is right now.
Yep. That's where I am right now. Just staring down on all the roller coasters and rides and everything.
It must be kind of weird because it's after hours and there's nobody there, right?
I mean, the security guy, I think he's been walking it by. I think he finally realized something's up. I might have to get out of here soon. Not really sure what's going on.
Well, welcome to the show, Connor. And thank you so much for joining us. How's your week been, dude?
My week's been good, man. It's just really looking forward to decision day. But on a personal note, I started a new job yesterday, so that was pretty cool.
Nice.
The new job down in Eden for a wireless tech company. So yeah, it's been a new experience, and hoping for good things to come out of this. So that's been the highlight of my week so far. How about you, Edgar? You been doing good?
Me, it rained yesterday, which to us is like manna from the sky. So I love the rain. I love cold weather. I'm tired of the summer. The summer can go fuck itself. So I'm really happy that we got cold weather. And I was really looking forward to the show, by the way, because I know how you are about some nice cold ones. So I got a cold one that I got at the end of last season when the LA Galaxy had just crowned themselves MLS Cup champions. This is from a segment that you guys do on your show, right? Where you share a microbrew, right? Or a nice
That's
beer
right.
from a
Yeah.
local one.
So we do. What are you drinking? So every single one of us, if we can, we'll bring on a beer from a local brewery around the Twin Cities area or around the state of Minnesota, and we'll introduce it, we'll describe it, and we'll put it out there just for everybody, just so that everybody knows about it, so they can go get it.
Well, if you got one, if you don't have one, maybe you can go and get one while I talk about this one real quick. But this one it was limited edition. It's called Los Angeles Real Ones, and it's from Air Lodge Brewing. It was only available right after MLS Cup, limited edition. They're all gone. I bought a 6-pack. Throughout the season, I would have one hoping the team would start winning games. And every time I would open up one and have one, I noticed that no, they weren't going to be winning games anytime soon. So I decided to save one. Hopefully for Leagues Cup, hopefully for Campeones Cup, but neither of those two materialized. So then I said, hey, I'm going to save it for the wooden spoon. But no, that didn't happen either. But what else? You know what? Here it is. I'm having it with the Lunacy Pod guys. So it's just to you and all the Lunacy guys, man. Let me crack this.
Yeah, that's awesome,
Whoa,
man.
look
It's
at
got
that. It
the
jumped on me.
OG colors. He's got the OG colors for the Galaxy too. I like it, man. That's awesome.
Yep, yep. Look at that.
I will do a shout out to myself to Ripple Effect Brewing up in Rogers, Minnesota, only about 10 minutes north of me right here. I live in Maple Grove, Minnesota. I'm going to give a shout out and say that I'm doing their Caramel Harvest Pale Ale. And it's just it's a flavorful twist on a pale ale with caramel sweetness and a bit of balanced bitterness, and it is 6.3 ABV. So it's a little stronger than what I would normally be drinking on a Wednesday night. But hey, it's news across the galaxy. I had to go a little special for that
Thank you so
one, you
much.
know.
And in case anybody's wondering, this is an Angelino Lager, 4.5% ABV. It's nice for the middle of the week. Normally, I go for a very dark Russian stout, maybe two of them in the middle of the week because I'm crazy like that. But
A stout in the middle of the week, huh?
oh
Wow,
yeah, no, I don't care,
that
man.
goes hard.
Russian Imperial Stout, baby. Before we get into the show, I just
Yeah.
want to say some shout outs real quick. Thanks to everyone that was so kind to me and to my friends this past weekend during in tailgate. Once again, shout out to the Inland Empire. Geez, my God, their tailgate is amazing. I had their Dallas style, Texas style chili, and I had not had anything to eat since the morning. And let me tell you, my God, it was amazing. I was so grateful. So thank you to everybody there. And if you guys want to see what an amazing tailgate they have, check them out this weekend before Minnesota. They have something planned that's Minnesota centric, by the way, I heard. So if you were here, Connor, you'd feel like you're back at home.
I would love that. Maybe next year when we're out there, we should make a point to take a trip out there, man.
Hell yeah,
Go
you're always welcome.
go see Dignity Health Sports Park and feel some of that LA hospitality, man.
Definitely, you guys would get all your cold ones for free, for sure.
I like the
Um,
sound of that, and my boys on Lunacy would love that too.
so, Connor, as we near decision day, Minnesota United is positioned to finish as high as second place in the Western Conference, but not any worse than fourth place. Without a doubt, the Loons find themselves in a much better position than a year ago. So fans must be satisfied with the club's performance in 2025, right? Or is there some underlying anxiety?
Well, I mean, I think there's a little bit of underlying anxiety, but you can't really complain about the season we've had, especially considering it's the best season we've ever had since joining the MLS. It's the highest points total we've ever had, the most wins we've had. And honestly, it's the best team we've ever had. I mean, it took a coach by Eric Ramsey. We had the talent of Tani Oluwaseyi, Elvin Yaboa. Joaquin Pereira has been a great playmaker in midfield. Michael Boxall still heading things up in defense. And then Dane St. Clair, he's my pick. And I might be a little biased here, but I really think that he deserves the Goalkeeper of the Year award. I think he's been absolutely fantastic this year. So there's a bit of conflicting emotions there. I think we are all very happy with the way the season has gone. Of course, heading into the playoffs, anxiety is going to set in. I think it's only natural for anybody there.
No, absolutely. But let me ask you the big question, right? The hot button question, especially to anybody who's not privy to it. In case you didn't know, midway through the season, Minnesota United reached a deal with La Liga's Villarreal to transfer team leading goal scorer Tani Oluwaseyi for somewhere between 8.5 to $9 million. First of all, Connor, why? Why? Secondly, since the transfer, the Loons have gone 2-2, across all
Yeah.
competitions, which included a huge win away versus San Diego FC, but a crushing loss at home to Chicago Fire. What was the reaction
Right.
from supporters when news of the transfer came down?
Us, the Minnesota faithful, we loved Tani Oluwaseyi back at home. We thought he was our striker for the future, but he's got a lot of talent, and he deserves an opportunity to go play in La Liga, and especially with a team who's going to be playing some Champions League soccer with like Villarreal. So he deserves it. I think we're all very happy for him moving on, but obviously sad to see him go. And we are, back here, we're still very, very confident in Kelvin Yaboa's ability to take his place. I don't think he'll quite live up to Tani's expectations, but we do love his goal scoring opportunity, and we know that Joaquin Pereira can eventually find him as well in the midfield. So it's conflicting, but I'm honest. I mean, me personally, I'm very happy for Tani, and it's been very cool to see him on the score sheet in Spain with Villarreal. So it's been awesome to see that.
That's a very Minnesota answer. It's almost Canadian. The way you're like, it hurt our club, but we're happy to see him leave.
Yeah.
Um, well, with Oluwase gone, you kind of mentioned it a little, but who is the club relying on to score goals, and who else has had an impact on the club's success this season?
Yeah. So we have been obviously we're looking at Kelvin Yaboa. He's been injured these last few games. We're hoping we're hoping he might make a return soon, but I think it's going to be kind of a game time decision. I'm not really sure what the prognosis is on that. But Kelvin Yaboa is obviously the guy. If he's healthy, he'll step up and take the place of Oluwase. Other than that, so we can always rely on Robin Lod to step into that false nine position, and he's been very successful in flying under the radar in that kind of position. And a new guy. I mean, we have a new guy called Nectario Triantis, and he's been stepping it up. And he's only scored 2 goals since coming aboard during the summer transfer window, but they've been two bangers. They've been two absolute stunners, and so I see big things coming out of him.
Well, we see there's a super chat there from Adam. We're gonna put a pin in that one because we're gonna address that in just a few moments. But I was gonna ask you because, like I said, Minnesota has gone 2-2 since Oluwase left the club. But with the latest victory over Sporting Kansas City, do you feel that the team is trending in the right direction?
A 3-0 win against Sporting Kansas City is certainly nothing to be angry about. It's the Sporting Kansas City is right down there at the bottom of the West, so it has to be said that it's what we saw. It's what we thought should have happened on paper. So we were worried that it was going to be a trap game. We're always worried about trap games up here in Minnesota, but it was a good win, and so it's definitely a small vote of confidence. Like, even though it's against a team that hasn't had that great of a season, we're hoping to be able to build on that momentum, though.
To me, I mean, at least to me, it seems like Minnesota United is always on the verge of something bigger. Obviously, we can't forget what happened in 2020. I'm so sorry to bring it up, but I was absolutely convinced that the Loons were headed to MLS Cup before everything fell apart at the end. I remember I was just sitting there with my mouth open like that, like cat with the meme was like, you know,
Yep.
I was like, what the hell just happened?
I
um,
paced around my house for like an hour after the final whistle at that game. I was so enraged. Just could not believe we threw that away.
Well, buddy, what's it going to take for Minnesota United to finally climb to the top? And could this be the year?
Oh, I mean, at our best, I think we can beat anybody. We've proven that we can beat San Diego. We've proven that we can hold Vancouver in Vancouver. The one team that has always had the upper hand on us is LAFC. So that there's somebody that we're going to have to deal with at some point in these playoffs. So I if we play our best, I like our chances. Unfortunately, as you say, we've been 2-2 since Oluwase went off to Spain, and that shows the inconsistency that Minnesota fans have had to deal with pretty much over not just the last season, but the last few years actually. So it's been tough to kind of find that road to a better Minnesota, and we thought we found that with if we still had Tani, I would be even more confident. But we just have to find that stride. I do like our chances to be able to get past the first round, no matter who we play. It's just past there, I think that we'll have a little trouble.
Well, you kind of sort of answered some of the super chats that we have there, but um, this is what I was going to tell you. I mentioned this before we came on, but it's been such a solid season for the Loons, right? In
Mhm.
conversations with our good friend Cameron Collins, who covers Seattle Sounders, he has admitted that Minnesota is a team he wants Seattle to avoid in the playoffs. How do you feel hearing that?
Really, that surprises me. That is wild. Minnesota fans never want to face Seattle. They never want to face the Sounders because they always have had the upper hand up until this year. The first time it's this year we only had the second time and third time that we've ever beaten the Sounders since coming into the MLS in 2017. So we never want to face the Sounders. So that surprises me a lot. Of course, we did sweep them this year. I think that we are definitely a better team than we have been in recent years against them. I like our chances better than we have been in past years, but it's playoff soccer, man. And if you know Minnesota teams in playoffs, the Vikings, the Twins, the Wild, the Timberwolves, they'll find a way not to make it. They will find a way. So I'm not
especially the Vikings.
See, the Vikings, of course. Yeah, I mean, I've got my Packer shirt on right here, but it's the Vikings will always find a way, man. And I can't even badmouth them for that because it's honestly tough to watch.
Yeah, at least they have a nice stadium, right?
They do. They do have a very beautiful stadium. The first, actually, fun fact: the first ever event that happened at that stadium was a soccer game. Happened. I believe it was Tottenham Hotspur and AC Milan. They played the opening game over there.
That's what I'm talking about. You know, the first ever event at SoFi was also a soccer game. So there you go, baby.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So we have two super chats we want to address. First, we're gonna do one and one. Brian, can you hit us with some of that healing music? That little spreading some healing powder on Ricky Puja's knee so he gets better in time for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. He asked $2 super chat, Adam, and then we're gonna do also the other one, another one, Brian, so we can package them together. Some more healing music. Here we go. There we go. Yeah. So Adam asks, $2 super chat, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Adam. We really appreciate your support. He asked, Connor, what team supporters want to play in the playoffs? And do the Minnesota supporters have faith Minnesota will go further in the playoffs this season than other previous seasons?
So to answer the first question, what team do supporters want to face in the playoffs? First off, definitely not Seattle. We don't want to face Seattle. It's in playoff soccer. I know we swept them during the season this year, but I just see bad things happening if we host Seattle in the first round. Which, if the season ended today, that would happen. If that would happen, I would personally love to see Minnesota host Portland. It'd be really nice to. Minnesota has, for the most part, had the upper hand against Portland over the last few years. So I see good things coming from a match against Portland, especially in a 3-game series. Past there, oh boy, I'm not sure because you've got the Giants up there with LAFC, San Diego, and Vancouver. I'm not really sure who I'd like. It's like choosing between a hard place.
Dude, that side of the bracket is crazy. I saw it there. I was talking to some LAFC podcasters, and I was like, "My God, your side of the bracket is scary because you got San Diego, you have Seattle, and I think it's San Diego, Vancouver, and LAFC, and whichever poor team gets thrown into the mix there. My God, that's the gauntlet right there.
Yeah, it really is. The team making the MLS Cup final is going to be one of those 4 teams: Vancouver, San Diego, LAFC, and Minnesota. It's going to be one of those 4. So I don't think any other team is even close to as good as those 4. So I like and so that actually brings us to the second question: Does the Minnesota supporters have faith Minnesota will go further this season than in previous other seasons? Define previous other seasons. And will we go further than the 2020 Western Conference Final? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, if we play our best, maybe. I like our chances to make it to the second round, and depending on who we play and how we play, I think I like our chances to make it to the Western Conference Final as well. Then we'll have to really kind of throw it down. And boy, this bracket is going to be so unpredictable. It's going to be so hard to predict. So I really don't even want to begin to say who I think, if Minnesota made it that far, who we would face in the Western Conference Final.
Hey, if they make it to the Western Conference Final, I mean, if you guys do, that's when you gotta start channeling Hitchcock's The Birds and calling all the loons in the state to come to the stadium, man.
Attack of the Birds, of course.
So let's get into the game itself. But before that, I just want to ask you: losing Oluwaze was big, obviously, but did the
Right.
Loons bolster the club with any signings during the summer transfer window?
Well, we got a few guys that could be helpful in the attacking half. I mentioned him before, Nectario Triantis. He's really come in and made a statement for himself with a couple of banger goals, including that half field goal against San Diego in San Diego, just only about a month ago. We also got Dominic Fitz, who was the one of the leading scorers in the Austrian Premier League over the past year, and so he's come in and he hasn't really had much of a chance to shine yet. He's come in off the bench a few times, and I think he started one game. But I haven't seen a lot of flashes of brilliance from Fitz so far. So I'm hoping to see a little bit more of that before, well, at least before next season. So we got him, and then that those are the two main signings that we got over the summer transfer window uh, that have really been high profile. And Triantis has made his way into the starting 11. So I really like what I've seen from him so far.
And we have another super chat from Adam. My God, he has something interesting to say. Let's hit us with that music, Brian.
Oh, Adam. Oh my
Adam
goodness.
asks.
Um,
Say it, Connor. What does he ask?
well, he asks, I feel Minnesota can beat Austin FC home or away. You know what? I wish you would have said that before the U.S. Open Cup semifinal
Oh
just a few weeks
no!
ago. We had a clear route to the final. We had a home field advantage as long as we kept winning to the final, and we lost in 120 minutes against Austin. And it
Oh.
was just heartbreaking. We could have actually come away with a trophy this year, and we had to just throw it all away against Austin FC at home. And so you can beat you can that Minnesota can beat Austin FC home or away, and maybe we can if we had the chance to face them again. Just a little. I mean, that statement is still a bit sore for me if I'm completely honest.
Oh my God! Add them to the list, man. You had Seattle, Austin. At least you guys own RSL. I know that for a fact. So
Yeah, it was nice to get the win against them in the playoffs last year. That's for sure.
yeah. So let's talk about the two teams, right? Table positions right now. LA Galaxy, last place in the West. It's been like that the entire season, but no more last place in MLS. We are 28th place overall in MLS, thanks to that shock victory over FC Dallas, which came out of nowhere. So that means Galaxy is now safe from contention for the wooden spoon. Hooray! Thank you, Atlanta. Thank you, DC. Meanwhile, Minnesota United, fourth place in the West, seventh place overall in MLS. Overall records between these two teams, all-time records. Faced each other 16 times in the regular season. Galaxy has 7 wins. Minnesota has 3, 6 draws between them. Despite that, Galaxy have outscored the Loons by only 32-29. All
Mm,
time at regular season at home versus Minnesota. Galaxy has 4 wins. Minnesota has 1, with 2 draws between them. Galaxy has outscored the Loons 19-14 at the Dig.
mm,
Um, the last time out was on Saturday, March 22nd at Allianz Field. Yeah, that was that weird Minnesota United 2-2 draw. I remember
yeah.
it was a back and forth affair. It looked like the Loons would take the win after a Maya Yoshida handball in the 87th minute awarded Minnesota with a penalty kick, which Kevin Javoa converted. Nevertheless, Carlos Emiro Garces shocked everyone by scoring his first MLS goal several minutes later, giving Galaxy a 2-2 draw practically at the death. Amazingly,
Right.
in 9 matches as the visitors, Galaxy have only lost twice to the Loons. The last
Yeah,
time Minnesota beat Galaxy was on October 7th, 2023, when they crushed Galaxy 5-2, led by 4 goals by Timu Puki.
that's right.
But Connor, tell me if this is not true. But you can be sure the Galaxy's 6-2 thrashing of the Loons in last season's Western Conference semifinals is still in the minds of Minnesota fans and the players
Yeah,
that were in that match.
yeah,
Th-
absolutely. It's hard not to think about that whenever we play the Galaxy now, especially in that 2-2 draw that happened earlier this season. I was at that game, the 2-2 draw. So, I mean, we felt good after Kelvin Yeboah converted that free kick, and I think it was only 2 minutes later or so when the Galaxy equalized. So we thought we'd win it, and then Galaxy stole it away from us in pure Galaxy fashion. To be honest, it's the Galaxy have always been a hard team to overcome for the Loons. So yeah, it's been that 6-2 drop, but that 6-2 win. Just to circle back, yeah, we've always been thinking about it all this year, and especially now that it's coming up on Decision Day, one of the most important days of the year. We certainly don't want to overlook you. We know that you guys haven't had a season to brag about or anything like that, but LA Galaxy can play with the best of them. I don't care where in the table they are. I think LA Galaxy can play with the best of them. You guys just had a few injuries this year and maybe a couple of troubles on the field, but that's. I mean, I think fully healthy, the Galaxy are a playoff team for sure. So they're not to be underestimated.
If only the players heard you right now. Because statistically speaking, this is the worst Galaxy team ever. And like when all you put all the numbers down and everything, yeah, they're really bad this year. Um,
Wow.
yes, this is the worst Galaxy team ever. Even worse than the 2020 team, even worse than the 2017 team. So it's something to be said because a lot of people are saying they always point at the 2017 Galaxy team as the worst ever, but that team didn't have as much talent as this team does. So they kind of have an excuse. And even then, you look at the numbers, they were still better than this team this year.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, something to keep in mind. Player availability report, by the way. Let's talk about LA Galaxy. Obviously, we don't have the official report, which now won't be released until either late Thursday or early Friday. But we know for a fact that Ricky Puig, Marco Roche, they're done for the season. And as far as players that are questionable coming off injury, they might come in maybe for a few minutes, might even get the start on the last game of the season. But we're talking about Julian Aude, Christian Ramirez, and Lucas Sanabria, who have been dealing with some nagging injuries. Don't be surprised if Mayashita maybe sits this one out, but I'm pretty sure he's going to want to start this last match of the season. As far as disciplinary report is concerned, Edwin Cerrillo and Lucas Sanabria are still one yellow card away from a suspension fine. Does it really matter at this point? Not really. I mean, they could begin the season, I guess, next season suspended, but who knows? MLS is kind of weird. What can you tell us about Minnesota? You mentioned the team is dealing with a few issues, but what can you tell us about injuries or disciplinary reports?
Yeah, so Kelvin Yeboah has been dealing with an injury for the past few weeks. He's been somebody who we have missed dearly over the past few weeks, especially against the Fire, against the Colorado Rapids just a few weeks ago. So that's the main injury who's been out. We did just recently get back Hassani Dotson though, who has been out on injury pretty much all season. Came in earlier this season and had a good I feel had a good first few games and then went out on injury and Dotson's always a guy I feel has been underestimated on the team, so I'm really happy to have him back. Um, Other than that, it's Carlos Harvey is the other main injured out there. So, and it looks like actually, I'm not sure if this is up to date or not. It looks like Kelvin Yeboah and Carlos Harvey might be out this weekend. This could be out of date. I'm not sure if it's on. As you said, the latest report is supposed to come out over the next couple of days, but it looks like they're going to be both Carlos Harvey yeah, and Kelvin Yeboah are going to be out this weekend. So we may have to rely on other weapons against the LA Galaxy.
Of course, Galaxy fans remember Carlos Harvey is a former G. we wish him well as he goes into the playoffs. I got to actually run into him and Yasani Dotson at the CVI earlier this year, the Coachella Valley Invitational.
Oh, very
I
cool.
Yeah, I caught the after watching Galaxy lose to Chicago. I stuck around. I watched the match between New York City and Minnesota. There's a lot of Minnesotas out there. I'm sure that they'd rather be in the nice warmth of Coachella Valley than
Mm.
up in Minnesota in February. So don't
Oh
blame
yeah,
them.
yeah, oh yeah. If you like negative degree weather and double digit inches and snow, then Minnesota's the place for you. But it's you can only put up with it for so long, especially for a Minnesotan like me.
So let's talk about Galaxy tactics. Oh my God, you mentioned like before we came on, like you had no idea how Galaxy could be so bad this year. Yeah, I keep telling people, I keep trying to explain to people how bad they are and why they're so bad. I don't know. There's so many different ways we could write it. You could, if whether you listen to us or Corner of the Galaxy or Laguna or other Galaxy social media and journalists and podcasters, nobody really knows the real reason why. It's just every week they figure out a different way to lose, and after a while, you're just sitting there wondering, like, how are they going to lose this week? They kind of fix things, turn things around in the latter half of the season, but so that's something to look forward to maybe for next year if some of these players stick around and are part of the Ricky Puig revival next season. But we'll see what the Galaxy does as far as adding or subtracting from this team. As far as Galaxy, how they are now, though, very few strengths. They're very good at shooting from direct free kicks. They really heavily rely on counters. Obviously, when you have somebody like Peck or Paintsil, um, and they will mount comeback if given the opportunity. They did it against Houston, Seattle, and they almost did that against FC Cincinnati. As far as weaknesses is concerned, my God, aerial duels, defending against long shots, defending against attack down the wing, defending against through balls, defending in general, avoiding individual errors, which they committed a lot throughout the entire season. And the one thing that drives me nuts more than anything, they cannot stop their opponents from creating chances, especially because there's always that gap between the defense and the midfield, and teams will find themselves with so much space to create. Once they get to the top of the 18, they can either take a shot or maybe find somebody with a nice pass. And Galaxy should not be giving away these freebies. Style play, Galaxy likes to attack down the wings, especially down the right. They take some long shots, make short passes as much as possible, and they try to possess the ball as much as they can, which, as you've seen, doesn't always lead to success. What can you tell us about the Loons this year, Connor?
Yeah, they've done really well in of course they've been inconsistent at points, but they've done really well in getting the ball into the attacking third. Unfortunately, it's been a recurring theme that when they get into the attacking third, they can't score. We've done a little better this year than recent years to be able to put the ball in the net, but we've got a playmaker like Joaquin Pereira who can play it from the left. You got Robin Lod who can play it in from the right, and um, I think our biggest strength to be able to put the ball in the net is from our set pieces. Any long throws from Michael Boxall, any free kicks from Joaquin Pereira, or even if we're just taking just somebody taking a corner, whether it's Pereira or Lod. Uh, I think the delivery has been absolutely excellent, and you know we've had uh, we've we've had a defense that has really been a force to be reckoned with as well. Where we've let in, I think, the second least amount of goals in the West this year. So it's been really nice to have that defense bolstered by Michael Boxall. We've had Nico Romero as some young talent to be able uh, to be able to just boost things back there. What's been nice about Eric Ramsey's strategy, though, is that he has been changing the game up a lot. He's been really, every now and then he'll go with a 4-2-3-1, which is a classic Minnesota formation. But then he'll switch it up to a 4-3-3, which Minnesota fans hate, but he seems to make it work for some reason. And I think, what ends up happening as a result of Eric Ramsey's strategy is that we tend to sit back and let the other team have possession and try to hit them on the counterattack. So that's the main strategy. I'm kind of all over the place with that answer there, but it's I think that we've had I don't know if this is still true, but I checked earlier on in the season, and I found that Minnesota actually had the least amount of possession of any team in the West, and here we are in fourth place, even though we've had not a lot of possession. So the counterattack has certainly worked for us, and the set pieces have certainly worked for us. And sitting back and being able to just weather the storm and yeah, keep the ball out of the net. Plus, when you have a goalkeeper like Dane St. Clair, he's been solid for us for a few years now. He's been able to really step up and come into his own.
Really maximizing the minutes when you do have possession, right? That's
Right.
that's always a big plus. And you mentioned Dane Sinclair. Obviously, he is one of the most like noticeable figures on the club, and especially with the World Cup coming up, I'm pretty sure he's going to be making a push to be part of that 23 that's going to be in the World Cup roster.
Hmm.
Um, do you see that sense of urgency within him, like as the playoffs are approaching, where he's like, "Hey, look at me! I want to be on that team."
Oh yeah, yeah. Dan St. Clair, you see the fire in him every game. He's always up. He's always behind the defense, pumping it up and shouting at the defense whenever something's gone wrong, and just he's always been one to fire up the team. So I I see nothing but that from him, and I think that he has a pretty good shot at being the Canada number one for 2026. He's been playing great and out of his head. Might still be a little young compared to Kripo, or I forget who the other Canada goalkeeper is, but I think he's got a pretty good shot, and it would be great to see him in the World Cup.
Well, what will it take for LA Galaxy to defeat the Loons this time around?
Oh boy. Um, you know, one thing that what one thing that Minnesota fans have really hated about uh, you know, not having a lot of possession is being when the coach gives the order at about the 60th or 70th minute to park the bus, and that's when momentum kind of shifts the way of LA Galaxy, and uh, that's when the LA Galaxy have to play quickly, play compactly, um, make sure that the passing game inside the final third is great, and I think that you know just be able to control possession, even though that's kind of worked in Minnesota's favor in the past. I think that um, be able just keep the pressure on whenever Minnesota gets possession. Just keep the pressure on, because when we do get possession, I would say that we play with a little bit less of a sense of urgency inside of our own half. So if we do get possession, I think the Galaxy has to come onto the attack quickly and early. And so if they do that and they can keep Minnesota from getting the ball out of their own half, I think they got a pretty good shot at beating us.
Well, let's talk about the referee that's been assigned to this match because he's back, folks. Galaxy fans, you know who it is. MLS fans, if you don't know who it is, this is Rosendo Mendoza. Rosendo Mendoza. In addition to MLS, Mendoza has refereed in Leagues Cup, the US Open Cup, NASL, USL, and one U17 FIFA friendly, which is kind of interesting. Since 2019, Mendoza has refereed in 109 MLS regular season matches, seven of those with LA Galaxy, who have a record of 3 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, including a spotless record of 2 wins, no draws, and no losses at home. He's also refereed 8 matches with Minnesota United for 3 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses, including only 1 win, no draws, and 3 losses away. Mendoza's last LA Galaxy match was a 2-2 draw with Seattle Sounders away on September 13th, 2025. He handed out 2 yellows to Seattle in that match. His last Minnesota United match was a 2-0 loss to Seattle away, also on June 15th, 2024, where he handed out 2 yellows and 1 red to Minnesota United. Um, on September 20th, 2023, I remember this is a match where my buddy was visiting from France. Mendoza refereed a match between LA Galaxy and Minnesota United FC at Dignity Health Sports Park. The result was a 4-3 win for LA Galaxy, who overcame a 3-1 halftime deficit. In this match, Mendoza handed out 4 yellows to LA Galaxy, 6 of them to Minnesota, and a red for a second yellow. This will be Mendoza's 24th MLS match of 2025. He hands out yellow cards like they're Halloween candy. So far, he has handed out 117 this year for an average of
Holy
5.09 per
moly.
game, 3 red cards for second yellows, and 2 straight reds. He has also awarded 6 penalty kicks. Well, Connor, now that you heard all that, and you heard about the all-time records between these two clubs, I had to ask, what is your prediction for this match?
Oh boy, Minnesota are gunning for a win because they want that second place spot. Of course, they need a little bit of help from Colorado and from Portland. Uh, and LAFC and San Diego are both away, so it's going to be hopefully it's a little bit of home field advantage comes in handy in Portland and in Colorado. And Minnesota are, of course, also away at Dignity Health Sports Park, so that's going to be a tough one to overcome. I Minnesota's got something big to play for, and no offense to you guys, but LA Galaxy they're just playing to stay out of that wooden spoon spot. So I think that Minnesota they're gonna come out angry, they're gonna come out hyped up, and they're gonna end up with a 3-1 win against the LA Galaxy. I think that Joaquin Pereira is gonna get a couple of assists, and uh, I just love this guy Pereira. I think he's been great. He's been great all year. And I'll bet the third goal. I'm going to make a bold prediction right now. I'll bet the third goal. That's going to come from. Uh, I believe that's going to be Dominic Fitz's first goal as a loon. I think Fitz is going to come off the bench and get a first goal. Get a first goal as the third goal against the LA Galaxy.
What a difference a year makes, right?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, no, this LA Galaxy team is like we're talking Halloween is coming up soon. This Galaxy team is like one of the shuffling undead creatures that's just like walking around a mall, right? And George Romero's Day of the Dead, those walkers are just kind of shuffling around aimlessly. That's the LA Galaxy team this year. So they look funny from far away, but when you get up close to them, you better be careful because they grab you. It's game over.
Mm.
Take a bite out of you. So that said, I don't know what to expect from this team anymore. There have been times when we say they have to win. On paper they look good, especially early in the season. We're like, oh, this is a win. This is a win, and obviously they lost. And then there's times where like, there's no way they're gonna win this match. They're completely outclassed, and then they win, and you're like, what the hell? um,
Right.
but the wins have been so far few in between. So this season, um, I would love for this LA Galaxy team to go out on a winning note, but I really don't see that happening. I'm gonna say Minnesota wins this match 2-1, and just to keep things a little respectable for LA Galaxy. A nice little 2-1 win for Minnesota, so Galaxy fans won't feel too bad as the season comes to an end. Actually, we don't feel anything much these days. We just show up, we enjoy the tailgates, and then we're like, oh yeah, there's a game. All right. And then you look up at the 2024 MLS Cup banner, and I keep telling people, it's like if somebody forgot to put down, the birthday decorations. You're like, what the hell is that still doing up there? Take it down already. So that's what it's like. That's what it's been like, Hunter. It's been really, really weird. I've shared the story before where like there was a stretch during the season where Galaxy was away to Kansas City, New York, Red Bulls, and to Philly, and they they lost all three matches in the most insane ways possible. The match
Yeah,
against Kansas City was the one where like they didn't allow Kansas City even a shot, and they still lost on an own goal.
that is
Then they
why.
followed that up with the 7-0 Red Wedding, where New York just destroyed them, right? The Red Bulls. And then
Mm,
there was a match in Philly where they were up 2-0 at the half, and they coughed up that lead in the first 5 minutes of the half. And then I remember telling people, please, God, please don't let them lose at the death. And they end up losing at the death. And it just broke me. I remember I was so mad. Oh my God. Yeah. So that after that, I was like, oh, these guys are dead. These guys suck. This season is over.
yeah.
Um, but that's what it is. It's just such a weird situation over here. And then all of that happened, by the way, Connor, right around the time when Vanny's extension was announced. So people were like, "What the hell?"
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. And so it's been weird. It's been weird. And so for the longest time, we were all kind of like accepting the fact that, yeah, we're going to get the wooden spoon. And then out of nowhere, they beat Dallas. And that put them
Right,
just above the threshold where they don't have to worry about the wooden spoon anymore, especially because Atlanta and DC, the two last place teams, are going to be facing each other. So that's a match I'm not going to miss, by the way. Atlanta versus DC for the wooden spoon. That's going to
yeah.
be insane.
No, those matches where those teams that are going nowhere, they're very equally matched. Those could be some of the most entertaining matches you've ever seen. Man, they're pretty cool.
It's like going to a bar and then at the end when everybody's leaving, you see a drunken slap fight, between these two just drunken Slavs. They're just missing each other.
Right.
And eventually they just fall on top of each other and just lie there.
And LA Galaxy's sitting at the bar with some popcorn, just being like, "Wow."
Yeah, like wow, that could have been me.
Yeah.
Well, hey, you know what? Thank you so much for joining us, Connor. Any parting words? I mean, this is your opportunity to say anything as your Loons head into the playoffs. Anything you want
Right.
to say?
Yeah, I mean we're looking forward to being in the playoffs. It's gonna be real exciting who we end up facing. Still hoping for a another record to be broken this year. The highest we've ever finished in the West is fourth, at which we are in right now, and we're guaranteed at least a fourth place. We're hoping to be able to make it to second. So it's still, the season is not over. Keep your head up. Keep an eye on that San Diego game and LAFC game this weekend for anybody who's from the Loon faithful who is watching. Drink local and go Loons.
So thank you so much. Like I said, put out your socials, by the way. I'm a big fan of you guys, and I think a lot more people would appreciate learning more about the different cultures across MLS. We always tell people, hey, check out these amazing content creators from across the league. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Loonacy Pod. How big of a fan am I? I have the coaster.
That's
Okay, I got the
right.
coaster. I got the decal. I think I might
Yeah.
even have a tattoo somewhere. I'm not gonna say where, but I do have one. So,
That's all
but
right.
yeah,
That's all right, man. Anywhere you want, we'll praise you for it, man. We'll praise you for it. And so, yeah. So you can always find us on X. You can at Lunacy P. You can see that on my window down there at Lunacy Podcast. You can find our podcast wherever there is a podcast: Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, anywhere that they make podcasts. We are there, and we're generally pretty prominent on X, so you can find some new posts for us every now and then. And yeah, if we usually tend to release a new episode every Monday or so. So have a listen, and yeah, we'd love to get some of that LA faithful listening to us.
yes. And before you ever sit down and read any AI slop put together by some AI bot that MLS has hired to write about the Loons match, forget the AI slop, forget that crap, and listen to the guys from Loons at P because they really care about their team. They're not some weird robot that doesn't have any feelings at all. So listen to those guys. Screw no, fuck that. fuck AI. Support the podcasters and the journalists that cover this league. They're the ones that really care about this. MLS, I think, has lost touch of that, and we're the ones that are going to be carrying that flag for years to come. So support your local pod, support the other MLS pods. We all work hard to make this happen. Some of us don't even get paid for it, but we do it for the love. And I'm sure guys like Connor and the Loonacy guys, you guys love doing this. It's something that starts with friendship and it ends up in being something much bigger, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, well said, Edgar. Well said. And so it's we don't get paid to do our podcast. We just do it because we love it and we love to drink beer during it. So it's a fun time. Usually about an hour and a half of just us talking about beers, talking about Minnesota United. I go through some soccer history pretty much every episode, and then Tony has a funny story to close out with after all is said and done. So come have a listen with us. I think there was one funny story once where a woman was transporting her pet cow in her two-door coupe or something like that, and there was there was one
That's
where
funny already.
it's dude, they get absolutely absurd, but I'm here for it all the way, and it's so funny. But yeah, come have a listen. It's at the end of every episode too. If you would just want those funny stories, we'd love it, man. It's just such a fun time. But again, well said, Edgar. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, everybody, from me and Brian, this is where we're saying goodbye, man, because it's been a long ass season, right? And we still have one more show, which is the Sunday show, recap the final game of the season. But for me and Bryant and the rest of the News Across the Galaxy crew, we thank you once again for hanging out with us tonight and throughout this long MLS season. Please join us next week as we cap the season off with some good friends and some cold ones as we host another edition of the Wooden Spoon Collective with our good friends from For the Glory KC Podcast, Scarves and Spikes, The Ball is Round Montreal, and DC United's legendary Dave Johnson. Connor, thank you so much for joining us again, man. We really look forward to chatting with you and the Loonacy Pod fellas again next season. We wish you all the luck we can offer you as you prepare for the playoffs. As we always say, keep on nagging and Wu-Tang for life.
Always a pleasure. Go Loons.
Do the Loon.